Welcome back to Real Estate with Mariah and Spenc. Today we are going to share 5 very important things. I'm just going to say things, but I had to add, these are very important things that every first-time home buyer needs to know.
And so I think... Did I cut you off? Are you still on your intro?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think this is very, very valuable because right now we are transitioning into a buyer's market, I do believe.
Yes,
and
it's so fun.
Just putting my feelers out there, a lot of people are still like so unaware how the home buying process even starts or where to start or what to do really. And so if you guys are viewing this video, this is geared toward you educating yourself. So congratulations, you found something that's going to educate you to get you where you want to be. And that is what these videos are all about. It's for you guys, our clients, and then ultimately for you to reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Whether you're in Oregon or not, we can definitely help you get connected with a broker in your area. So make sure to stay in view, but also listen to all of these pointers because they are crucial. And you might not know about maybe just 1 or 2 of them.
They are. And I actually just thought of a 6th one. It just popped into my head. And I'm going to save it for the very end. So you're not going to want to miss anything today.
Awesome. Mariah, what's in that cup though? Before we really get started, let's introduce our drinks.
Oh my gosh. So I actually, so I made a chai tea. I don't use like the syrup or anything because... can someone just invent a syrup, like a good, like the Oregon chai syrup? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You're losing me.
It's
What's in
really
your cup?
good. No. It's really good, but they all have so much sugar in them. Can someone just invent a really good chai syrup without sugar or aspartame? That'd be great. But anyway, I made it just like myself with loose leaf tea and cardamom and all the spices and stuff that make it a chai on my stove. And I just made it. It's really good. But then what I did, you're like, I only wanted to know what it was. But I need to tell you, it's why it took me so long in there. I made the tea. I poured it over ice. And I've never done this. I make this tea like every day, twice a day. Instead of using my strainer, to get the tea stuff out, I just poured it all in the cup. And so I had I didn't want to remake it. So I had to take like 3 cups and transfer it because I had ice in it. And that's why it took me so long. Just
got to restrain
Anyway, that's what I'm drinking.
So you got a chai tea?
Yep.
Beautiful. I'm on 4 shots of coffee with a splash of heavy whip.
Wow.
Cheers.
That sounds really good. I did put a splash of heavy cream in my tea, so that's always fun. Okay, let's get into these tips.
Let's explore options for buyers here because, we are transitioning. I really do feel like this is a thing. Buyers are becoming more aware, more on market. We're seeing listings, days on market, even everywhere it goes. I feel like I see a new listing, it's under contract in 3 days. And that tells me there's a shift. We are heading into the summer months, June, July, August, and September. Weather's changed. School districts people are looking to change school districts during that time.
Yeah.
If you got kiddos.
Yeah.
And I just see opportunity out there, but people having hope again in this buyer's market and being able to transition to a different way of life. Maybe you're renting right now and they see that interest rates, they're steady. They're not increasing anytime soon, I hope. So they're saying, let's take advantage of the market right now, get pre-approved and get something under contract.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So I'm going to start off with the things that you want to know.
Let's hear it.
Are you ready? Okay. So the first thing that you need to know if you are a first-time home buyer or any type of home buyer is there is no such thing as a perfect home.
So good. And what I think Mariah might mean by that is when I'm dealing with clients and we're on showings, generally we want the best of both worlds, right? We want the home and then also we want the lot of land. Well, in a perfect world, yes, that does make sense. In reality, though, you sometimes have to choose. You have to make a choice, especially if it's like your first home purchase or second one, but you only have X amount of funds. You just have to compromise in some ways because the goal is home ownership. Yes, you will live there 5-8 years, probably, maybe even less, but we're going to have to choose whether square footage is important, materials important, or the yard size is important.
I'm going to share a personal example if that's okay.
Please
So when we were house hunting, something that we had to compromise on, or there were 3 things that were important to us. And I would say those 3 things were the lot size. We wanted a yard. And then the second was the square footage. We wanted over a certain, we liked over a certain square footage. We wanted it to feel bigger than our previous 2 houses. And then third was that we wanted it to be newer or updated and just, not super outdated. But to find all 3 of those things in the location also that we wanted to be in, the, side of town is very desirable. You were looking at like 800,000 plus for a yard, unless you wanted, we could have sacrificed. We looked at some houses that were brand new, beautiful homes, had the square footage, but no yard at all. And so in order to have those 3 things, we had to make a sacrifice. And what we ended up sacrificing was the year built. So we ended up buying an older home, but then it worked out to be able to just remodel it, and it ended up being less than buying a house that was already remodeled, but that same square footage and lot size, if that makes sense.
So the key point is, say you don't find that perfect magical property you're searching for, and you had to compromise like we did. We had to do a full update, full remodel to it. Yes, that costs money.
Yeah.
Understand there's always work to be done to get it where you want to be. And that is home ownership in a lot of ways. I mean, we're not paying money to a landlord and telling landlord to fix my water heater once it goes out. You are responsible to make these repairs and additions that you're wanting. It's your home. But keep in mind, all of these things you're doing over time, it might not have to be right away. When it comes to repair or a remodel or just an improvement on the property. Over time, you're investing in yourself, which is, if you believe in your asset that you're living in, then you get to resell that at a higher value later on. So that 5 to 8 years down the road, it really didn't matter. Just as long as you had funds, you could do it. Right. That's what really mattered, because where you've gone through home appreciation like we have in the last 5 years, this has been a wild journey. I mean, I've seen sellers buy a home 2 years ago, literally just 2 years ago, and now they're like $200,000 richer.
Yeah.
And nobody saw that one coming. I mean, when we were in 2018, we thought the market was going to tank or go down at least. But the reality is it hasn't. And when we talk about listing inventory, that's going up slightly, but not near enough. I mean, so buyers, pickings are still slim. Buyers, yes, it is becoming more competitive out there. You're still in a really good opportunity, though, to get the right home under contract that fits you.
Mm-hmm. The next thing is that it's important to know how much home you can comfortably afford. So what you qualify for isn't necessarily what you comfortably can afford. And something also to keep in mind is, especially if you have repairs, if you're looking at something that's a fixer, then you might need to look at a lower price. And another, personal example is when last time we were house hunting, we had a certain limit that we were able to be pre-qualified for, but we ended up purchasing under that because the house needed work. But if if the house was at the top of our budget and needed the amount of work that we were going to put into it, then it wouldn't have been a good decision financially, because it would have put us over the budget, if that makes sense. So really just knowing, like, it's probably a good idea to be looking under budget, especially if you're looking at something that you're planning on putting quite a bit of money into, is always a good idea. And of course, your lender will be able to tell you what, your monthly payment would be at each price point, and, with different loan programs and all of that to help you make a good decision for yourself.
Right. And what I've learned is there's so many other educational tools. It's not that we don't have a resource or a knowledge base of what to do, of what to keep our income out, because, I mean, we get paid a certain amount per month, right? And then our mortgage is whatever it is. I mean, $2,300, okay?
Yeah.
There's so many resources out there. Dave Ramsey, for instance, that's able to educate you guys as to what a realistic figure should be for you as an American homeowner, but also as an American consumer of what you can afford. And if you're looking for us to educate you on that, that's just simply not where we're geared. We're not going to tell you how much to spend, because ultimately it's on you.
And legally, there's actually a lot of areas we're not allowed to cross over to. There's a lot of things we're legally not able to give advice on, such as things involving lending and involving, things that maybe a financial advisor would tell you. We legally, with our license, we can't cross those lines.
But the whole point is there's books out there. There's other YouTube channels. There's your lender, for instance. If you're scared to talk to somebody, I would be first cross the chicken line and talk to a lender, because they're in your best interest, okay? Ours, if you're looking looking for somebody, he is terrific and phenomenal with communication, but also for first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And he's got great loan programs, especially for first-time home buyers. So if that's you, contact us. Our information's below, and we're happy to send you his way.
Yeah. Okay, so you also are going to want, as a first-time home buyer, especially to do your homework. So I'll explain what I mean by this.
But isn't that the realtor's job, Mariah?
So it is. The realtor's job is to hold your hand, to walk you through the process, and to do all of the back end work that the buyer usually doesn't even kind of realize what's everything that's going on. There's a lot going on. But as a buyer, there's still a lot that you're going to want to know. And I always just say that I really think it's in your best interest, if you're going to be a home buyer or even a home seller in the near future, to educate yourself on the home buying process, the loan program, the things that you want to know. Watching videos like this, we have a whole playlist over on our channel that is specifically for first-time home buyers with tons of free information out there. And just knowing those, key real estate terms and just a little bit of insight on how the process works up front. You don't have to know everything. Right. That's your realtor's job. And you definitely don't have to know everything, but that is something that I do think is wise to do.
People generally are contacting us because they find us from these videos. You guys viewing this as our audience. We've gained something of knowledge for you or trust. Okay, so you've been able to reach out to us. Now, a lot of clients that I come and find and deal with is they said they hired me for a reason, and sometimes that is on the negotiation side. I mean, this is our full-time job, real estate, and sending in offers is definitely why we're in business. That's how we get a paycheck at the end of the day once the offer does close. But we are highly educated in this field, but also today's market, and that's really important when selecting a real estate agent.
The next tip, number 4, is pick the right realtor and pick the right lender for you. So, there's a lot of different realtors and lenders out there, and a lot of them do things so differently, and you're going to want to pick one who is going to work in a way that works best for you. That's super important, especially if you're looking for a niche property or something really specific. If you're, for example, if you're a relocation buyer, then you're going to want to work with a realtor that does a lot of relocation deals every year, that type of thing.
Right.
But they're not all created equally. I will also add that I don't know what exactly the statistic is, but something around like 20% of agents do 80% of the business. And I think that I've heard that that's even gotten more narrow. Worse, And so just because someone has their real estate license or even is a active real estate agent doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing it consistently and knows exactly what they're doing. You want to pick someone that is running a business and has a track record.
Yeah. I literally hear that every day, though, because I do a lot of cold calls, a lot of phone calls, especially for sellers, people wanting to sell their home. And the number one answer I hear from somebody is, I already know somebody. I'm not going to use you. I know so-and-so. My best friend's a realtor. And that is the case. But ultimately, a month and a half later, I end up having the listing. Yeah. And there's a reason why some people have selected me or chosen to work with us. And it's because of that knowledge field that we're bringing to the table. We're offering you guys a service. And that's really important when choosing the right agent, a good agent versus a bad agent. What's the old quote saying? If you select a bad agent, it'll cost you more in the end.
I don't know. Like that. That sounds like a quote.
Now physically, yes, but also financially. I mean, a good agent versus a bad agent. And what I mean by that is just simply negotiating. I mean, people that know how to negotiate, it's super crucial in home sales. And I've been around and I've had plenty of transactions where realtors simply don't know how to negotiate. I mean, they're just... It's just a normal conversation. They spill all the beans. It's not like we're trying to be hidden or anything during our conversations, but they're just an open book. And when I have a fiduciary duty to service you guys, our clients, well, that's my job. I'm representing you. I need to save you more money, or I need to make you more money. That is my ultimate goal and interest. So keep that in mind when you are selecting an agent.
Yeah.
Because what I can tell you is we have so many agents out there. Oregon, especially, we're at an all-time high, I believe. Now, who knows how much business each agent's doing, but it comes back to that statistic. 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. And I truly believe that statistic's even worse now. I think probably 12% of the agents are doing 87% of the business or 88% of the business, So just keep that in mind. Whoever you're reaching out to, maybe you saw their ad on Google. They paid for that ad. Doesn't mean they're the best in this field, okay? So I've just seen that so many times. Right. Money does talk, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love marketing, but ultimately invest yourself with 3 other agents to interview and then go off of that and select the right one for you.
Yeah. Okay, this is really important. You want to keep property taxes in mind when you're house shopping or even deciding on where to buy / budgeting for all of this.
And you know what's cool?
What?
You can actually put that data and that figure through a property watch on our website to
property taxes specifically.
Yes, to keep you in check of the budget, because property taxes do affect your monthly payment. I mean, there's a big difference in paying $2,300 a year versus $6,000 a year in property taxes. Just think about that divided by 12. That's going to up your monthly payment that much. So we really do got to keep that in mind. And specifically towns, that will affect your property taxes. Are you in city or are you out of city? So your home criteria and search, your must-haves versus what you really don't care about. Well, if you really care about your monthly payment, then yeah, that's going to be something we need to consider seriously. Now, you might have a 10-minute drive further because you're a little further outside of the city, but ultimately it's going to be saving you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, property taxes are huge. It's something I've seen first-time buyers just not really think of or account for. But before we go look at houses, I definitely want to make sure, especially if a property is on a side of town that has higher property taxes, I want to make sure you're aware of what the property taxes are, because like Spencer said, it really will affect that payment. Yeah. Okay. So that was the last tip. And then the bonus tip.
Give me the bonus tip.
Are you ready?
I don't know what it is.
Okay. The bonus tip is have a buyer consultation with your realtor. This is huge. It's so important. I know probably 90% of real estate agents will just go out there and meet you at a house. Don't do that. You want to have a buyer consultation, whether it's just over the phone, a phone call, or over Zoom. We can do both. We love doing both. And it doesn't have to be this super long, lengthy thing, but really just being able to get some of your upfront questions answered at first. Just have you walk through the process a little bit. It really just makes, from what I've seen, because I've been a realtor for 8 years now. I didn't used to do this for a long time in my business. And I can tell you for sure that it makes a difference in how smoothly the home buying process goes for you. And you just feel more in the loop. And I think it definitely is a good idea to do.
Absolutely. And I mean, don't make the realtor's job so easy to where you feel like you're working for them. Ultimately, we work for you guys. So it all comes down to, how are you selecting your agent? If you're selecting your agent by showing up to the first showing, never meeting this agent, and it is what it is, you saw their name and number on Zillow, so that's why you selected them, go for it. But ultimately, we've just seen so many clients make that mistakes. I'm not bashing Zillow leads or anything like that if you're on Zillow, but ultimately, you do want to have that buyer's consultation. It is so crucial, but also relationally. We're dealing with the biggest transaction you've probably ever had in your life. Let's get real. I mean, your car, it could cost you 60, 80, even 120 grand. But this house, the average home sale in our area is what, 400 now? Or is it
440 in South Salem.
Okay, yeah.
It goes up depending on the side of town
to 440
in the area, but South Salem specifically, it's about 435, I think.
I mean, these are big sums of money here, guys. And so if you're just dealing with somebody you don't know and just saying, here you go, and 30 days later, I hope it works out. I mean, that is one of the most weirdest comments I think a buyer's ever told me is they were so scared in the buying process because the broker they wrote the offer with just said, oh yeah, it should work out, or I hope it works out, and just keep your fingers crossed. I mean, I need certainty in these type of transactions from my agent. From you guys, we write an offer and we're just asking me questions and I'm telling you, hey, just cross your fingers. I think it'll work. That's not a good answer, I don't think. Now, there's sometimes I don't know the other end of the answer, but we just need a little bit more time to find out the right answer. But ultimately, we need certainty in these transactions because it is a scary process for you guys. I mean,
Right.
It really is. You're dealing with inspections, appraisals, your time, your investment, your family moving from one location to the other, a full new scenery at times. So why not rely on the best to get the job done for you?
Yeah. And a couple things, if you want to know if your realtor knows what they're talking about, a couple questions that you could ask them. One, ask them about the housing market. Ask them what is going on. What are we seeing? What are listings doing? What are we seeing as far as offers that are getting accepted? What's going on in the market? Another is ask them about areas. Where are they working? What sides of town are like? What's the, ratings on certain sides of town and all of that. And ask them about the process. They should be able to explain to you the home buying process very well and very easily. And those are just 3 things that you can ask if you're trying to weed through to see if this agent knows what they're talking about. And lastly, before we end, gotta take a breath. It's a lot there. Before we end though, if you are watching this and you are someone who is thinking about buying a home, if you're thinking about moving to or buying a house in Oregon, contact me. My email's below. Shoot me an email anytime. I would love to get a Zoom meeting set up with you on the calendar and chat about what you're looking for in a home and how we can take the next steps together to get you a home. And if you're watching this and you don't live in Oregon, because this channel in particular is not Oregon specific. So if you are not in Oregon, but you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere, then contact me and I will help set you up with a solid realtor who will do a buyer consultation with you. I will make sure to set you up with someone who does them. So wherever you're at, we have amazing connections with top producing agents all over. And I would love to help you out in that area. So with that being said, do you have any last words?
Well done.
Any last words? Okay.
This is
we come on here every week, so don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next time.